On any given day, young people of all ages can be found on the turf, on the courts, and in the swimming pools of our local parks and schools. In America today, nearly 45 million children between the ages of 6 and 14 participate in organized sports at the community or club level. Organized sports help develop physical skills and self-discipline, while improving self-esteem and overall health. Sports participation also teaches children how to play fair and work with others, all while having fun and making friends. As these young athletes grow older and become more dedicated to the sports they particularly enjoy, their participation brings about deeper personal growth and character development.
There's so many things that make me a better person because of playing volleyball. I definitely, like in the classroom, I have really good time management skills. I'm able to handle my stress very well because there's always a lot going on. And I learned to communicate with others, and being a captain on this team, I'm able to resolve conflict and deal with situations with everyone. And there's always a lot going on, but it's easy to kind of figure everything out when you've just been through it over and over again.
What makes you a better person as you do athletics is that you learn a lot about yourself and how far you can push your mind mentally and your body physically. And you meet new people and relationships, and it just makes you a well-rounded person while scheduling school, sports, and also friends and family. I would say the benefits definitely make me want to work harder because I love seeing myself grow and not stay complacent.
It shows me how to work on team building. It shows me how to work on my own personal growth, and it's just motivate others in general instead of tearing people down, obviously.
For these dedicated athletes, their hours of hard work on the playing field is often rewarded by memorable accomplishments and opportunities.
Growing up, I've always been part of a team, whether it was playing baseball, basketball, soccer, volleyball, or even cross country. There was something about being part of a team that I found to be really exciting because I liked being around other people and having their drive be the same as mine.
I think my biggest accomplishments or achievements was last year with my Barcelona team. We placed third in nationals, and then a long time ago I placed first in select nationals. That's pretty cool. Other than that, I've always just been floating around. I've never really cared about my accomplishments, just my own personal growth.
Getting the opportunity to play college ball, I worked so hard for it, and I think that has to be one of the biggest ones.
Definitely just going to tournaments and then showing out, shooting the game-winning shot, and definitely getting MVP at tournaments that you didn't expect to get during summer.
The transition from middle school sports to high school sports comes with significant environmental changes and higher performance-related expectations. The transition from high school sports to college sports often comes with even stronger demands, as new college athletes are expected to sustain a high performance level without a parental support system. Today's student athletes are under tremendous pressure to win. For most student athletes, this means spending as much as 30 hours each week in practice, competition, and traveling to and from sporting events. Added to this time commitment are the many obligations student athletes have beyond their sport.
I think, as great as that may sound as a stereotype, that's not always true. As athletes, we have a lot of things going on with our sport alone, but we're also people, we're also students, we're also, in a family. So there's always something else going on, and I think I don't think it's safe to say that we don't have other struggles like that, and I think it's something that there needs to be more awareness for.
I have 16 units of class. Let's add a nice fat 5-hour practice block. Then I have required tutoring. Maybe time to eat because I'm a human who does that sometimes. Also, I need office hours, probably with a professor who thinks his class is the only thing I have to do in my life. Then I have an exam, which I probably only know 20% of, so I'm gonna block out time to study and really master that 20%, on top of all my other homework. And oops, maybe I have 6 a.m. running because my teammate's going through the same stuff I am and she was late one day. But don't forget, games on Friday and Sunday out of state, so now I'm missing these days of class for travel. Secretly, I'm kind of excited I'm missing class, but the logical part of me is like, when am I gonna find the time to make up that work? Because pre-game warm-up starts not 1, not 2, not 3, but a whopping 4 hours before the game. So if you thought I'd have time to make it up, I actually don't, and then it all restarts when I hop off my plane bright and early to do it all again.
Say that we probably have it a lot tougher than people think, because on top of workouts and practice, we also have school, and then I know like some of us have jobs, and so just the whole time management that we have here at the D3 level is very, very hard for some of us, because I've been on the end where I've gotten 3 hours of sleep. I know people who have pulled up all-nighter just because they were up till 4 in the morning studying and had 6 a.m. lift. So this life is definitely a tough one.
No matter the team I was on, there was always the thought of wanting to win. You know, when we go out and compete, you always want to win because no one likes to lose. But then as I grew older and played for more and more teams and the competitive rate kind of went up, I noticed not only is that we want to win, but the thought of having to win because it's going to make us look good. And so we just never wanted to lose. And I think having that pressure of having to win just added on a lot of anxiety.
Too often, the pressure and expectation student athletes find themselves under is brought on by outside influences, like coaches, teammates, family, friends, and fans. Too often, student athletes find themselves in the stressful position of trying to please everyone.
There's a lot of expectations for me personally as an athlete because I grew up with a family that was always good at sports, especially with a brother who went to college for a sport that he's been playing all his life. So when I was smaller, I always felt like I had a very high expectation from my family. A lot of people have different opinions about you and how you play, or how much you're playing, how much you're not playing. So I would say that when a player knows they're good enough and they're not being put into game situations where they know they can help their team, it could really make you feel low and really make you feel frustrated yourself.
I wouldn't say it impacts my performance, but I think it's always kind of in the back of your head. You know, if you've haven't been performing as good as you want to, and they kind of make remarks about it, kind of like, all right, well, I should probably pick it up if I want to impress them. You know?
When coaches have unique styles of coaching, it can make you play out of fear instead of out of confidence. Therefore, when I'm in practice and I'm playing out of fear, it's not helping me grow as an individual because I'm so afraid that I'm going to make a mistake, and then I'll be yelled at. Therefore, I might sit out the game, and in my head I'm thinking, what did I not do correct? Why am I making so many mistakes? And why am I not perfect?
I would definitely say your friends' opinions really affect you. If they know how good you are and they show up to a game that you aren't as good, then it can really get into your mind that you kind of let them down. My family allows me to make decisions on my own, but when it came to more athletics, I couldn't just take a sick day off. They would push me to go, whether I was sick or not.
The pressure to excel doesn't come only from the outside. Most student athletes are highly competitive individuals. They play to win. They play for the rewards of pushing their limits. They play for the love of the game. This competitive edge comes with personal demands from the athletes themselves. High standards that often leads to them becoming overly hard on themselves.
I absolutely apply way too much pressure on myself. As an athlete, I'm always wanting to be the best at everything. I mean, I hate losing. I want to win always. So that alone, I put a lot of pressure on myself just to make sure I'm doing my job and, helping do my teammates' jobs if one day someone needs it. My big goal this year is to be an All-American, so that's something I'm really pushing for. I'm, staying in the gym, getting extra reps and doing whatever it takes in the weight room. I'm always pushing weight, trying to get stronger, so I mean, every single game, at the end of it, that's my focus, is just, have I done enough for that, and have I done enough for my team to win that match?
If you're trying to do too much, it's gonna be a real big burden on yourself, and I think that's when things go wrong. When you have this whole team behind you and you're trying to do everything by yourself, and that's when you find yourself getting in trouble.
I don't think I do know the difference, because when I look at myself and how many times I go to the gym or go to the court, I always feel like it's not enough. But if I saw another person doing as much as me or more than me, I would tell them that you need to slow down and take care of your body. But I feel like every athlete, when they look at themselves, they feel like they're not doing enough.
It's hard to leave the distraction thoughts outside of practice, because if it's something bad outside of practice that's really distracting me, I kind of just want to just let it all out on the field and express it all on the field. I'd say it affects me and the team negatively, because it's not making anyone better, my emotions on the field.
My body does feel exhausted, but then again, I love that feeling because I know that I push myself the furthest I can go at that time, and I just feel like I'm benefiting from my workouts. Mentally, it can be really draining because you keep telling yourself that you need to push harder, you need to lift heavier weights, you need to run more. So it does become physically and mentally challenging, but more so for me mentally, because my physical state is at a very good point at this moment. I would say the benefits definitely make me want to work harder, because I love seeing myself grow and not stay complacent. So I would say the benefits make me strive more to feel better and to be better.
All athletes understand they face possible injury while engaged in any sport. In fact, most would say injuries are just part of the game. Yet, these physical setbacks can result in depression and anxiety as student-athletes wait out the healing process to get back in the game.
It was my freshman year in high school. I tore my ACL and meniscus, and that made me miss I tore it in football, and that made me miss my whole freshman year of baseball, which was my main sport. So that was hard to handle, sitting there watching all my friends for a whole year, especially the first year being on the high school team and all that, and not getting to play. So that was hard for me to handle, but I felt like it helped later on deal with things. It made me focus on my recovery and workouts. I'd say at the beginning I was kind of just down the dumps for a while. It was hard to watch all my friends and teammates, especially in our first year of new journey and adventure together, playing, and I was sitting there on charts and doing the book.
It's hard when you're so emotionally attached to the game and you just see everyone else doing so well and you're just back 3 steps back and everyone's 5 steps forward.
I try to stay involved. It's tough sometimes because you can't be out there with them, but you gotta still be a leader.
Student athletes are also expected to continue performing at their optimum when facing crises at home or within their personal lives. Often, they find a strong support system among coaches and teammates. But just as often, they are met with a lack of sympathy and expected to leave their outside problems off the court and field.
In 7th grade, 8th grade more I experienced my first heartbreak and a first love. That was really rough. And I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating. I would go to practice, my eyes were puffy and red. And my coaches was pull me to the side. He's you need to knock it off. You're a captain, you need to be a leader for your team. So get out there and do my thing. And then I began to cut. So sorry, it's triggering. And then in sophomore year, same kind of deal. I lost someone really important to me. And I wasn't eating, I was sleeping all the time, no motivation, no energy. I never attended practice. I quit track for 2 weeks, and then I found out I made it to finals, and then I felt obligated to go back. But other than that, I never wanted to go. I took a year off from soccer that year. That was probably my roughest year. And then again, my senior year in high school, I lost all my friends, and I had no one, and that was really rough. Didn't run, didn't sleep, didn't eat, no soccer. I had no one to talk to, so I was just writing down all my thoughts.
My dad, my senior year, got diagnosed with cancer, and that was pretty tough. And then he beat cancer, and that was like a really big moment. He beat it my freshman year coming here. And then this past year, my sister got diagnosed with ovarian cancer, so that was pretty tough to just handle. But yeah, she beat it recently too. And then one of my best friends actually passed away earlier this year, and that was I think that was probably one of the toughest, because you grow up with somebody and you think you know them so well, and then they're just not there anymore. Every game this year I've been playing for him, I put his little what I remember him by on my cleats and on my wrist tape and all that. So.
Mental illness is one of the greatest silent epidemics facing our country, yet many are suffering in silence. 1 in 4 college athletes experience significant symptoms of depression, anxiety, and other mental conditions. However, only 10% of student athletes seek counseling. Those reluctant to seek help for their anxiety and depression place themselves at a higher risk for eating and sleep disorders, substance abuse, self-harm, suicidal thoughts, and death by suicide. Missing practice for any reason is never easy for a student athlete. For many, however, missing practice to attend a counseling appointment to work on their mental health is even more difficult, as they may fear lost time learning important plays or drills. They fear being benched during game time for missed practice. Most fear appearing lazy, vulnerable, or weak. For this reason, athletes struggling with anxiety and depression may make it a point to hide their problem, believing they should simply tough it out.
I definitely worry about what we're missing out on, especially in this conference. We play a lot of different style teams, different level teams, so a lot of our practices are individually based on a specific team and a defense they run, so there could be a lot of information being missed, so it's always important that we're there as much as possible, but also communicating with our teammates and our coaches to get all the information.
I never met with a therapist, but I always did worry. I always thought about it, like I need to go see a counselor. I've always thought that, but I was just too scared to miss practice or tell my coach why I'm missing practice.
I've never gone to a counseling session in the middle of practice or with practice time. I usually tend to schedule around practice. I've canceled a lot of appointments because they've wanted to get me in at this time, but basketball is my #1 priority.
Missing practice has never been easy for me, no matter what the reason is. I always want to attend practice no matter what. And it's hard because when I do see my counselor, appointments are usually at 3 p.m., which is when practices are. So when I go to my counseling session and I'm in there talking with her, in the back of my head I'm thinking, oh, what am I missing in practice? What drill am I missing? What information? And who's going to take my spot if I can't run because I'm at this counseling session?
Eliminating the stigma surrounding depression and anxiety and encouraging student athletes in crisis to speak up and find help must be at the center of the mental health discussion. The NCAA has recently created a list of best mental health practices for all college sports programs to ensure athletes have access to qualified mental health care professionals, promoting environments that support mental well-being and resilience, and screening athletes for potential mental health issues before their participation begins in college sports. Furthermore, taking advantage of strong support systems both on and off the campus is critical to ensuring an athlete's mental well-being.
The best advice I can give, considering I didn't follow my own advice, is that find someone you trust. Just like, it doesn't have to be an adult, it can be a friend, it can be your coach, it can be a notebook that you have. You can just find something or someone that you trust and write down your problems. Tell them how you feel from time to time. At least once a week, talk to them.
That you just gotta take day by day, step by step, and just breathe and just focus on what you gotta do next and not worry about too much what hasn't happened yet.
It's really interesting because you have everybody that is an athlete and they don't really talk about emotional issues, you know, because everybody has stuff going on. And I think there's always something different, like behind the jersey you wear or under the helmet that you put on. And I think revealing that and having maybe just a bigger say in general about athletes' mental health, because I know everybody goes through a lot of things, and it's really tough sometimes because you have the pressure of practice, performing good.
Speaking up for mental health care and support for student athletes is gaining momentum. Today, both professional and college-level athletes affected by anxiety, depression, and other mental disorders are stepping forward and publicly sharing their stories. Organizations like Helinski's Hope, #DamnWorthIt, and Project 375 are also helping to bridge the gap. By promoting compassion, awareness, help, and education, these organizations aim to remove the shame associated with mental health disorders while reinforcing mental wellness support. In the end, it's important that student athletes understand that their self-worth isn't based on how far they throw a ball, how many goals they make, or how fast they cross the finish line.
You know, I think at the end of the day, like, life is so much bigger than just sports, and if you can, it's good to be hard on yourself to say that, but you have to, there comes a point where it's like, okay, football or life.
I think that it's good to focus on your sports. I mean, I focus on my sports as well, but there comes a time where I have to choose whether I'm going to continue to physically and mentally beat myself up, or if I'm going to focus on my own well-being.